guys, it's Katie here again from Creativa. It's been ages since I've done a video, at least it feels like it to me. I don't know how this is going to go, because when you haven't done a video for a while, you sort of forget how to do them. So anyway, let's see how I go. Today I'm starting a new project. I'm calling it a Slimline Folio. This is a set of SVG files. You can find them in my Etsy store, and I'll put the link in the description box if you're interested. So it's a really easy project. I felt like doing an easy project. You know, sometimes we do these projects that last for weeks, or they take me weeks, and by the end of them I'm exhausted. And so I want to do some smaller fun things. So this is one of them. So it's a set of SVG files. The pink bits on top is what I'm cutting out of my designer paper or my scrapbook paper, and the purpley bluey bits underneath is what I'm cutting out of cardstock. I'm using 180 GSM cardstock, which is just the standard cardstock. I think it's about £80. Well, here's some here. So I'll give it a little shake and you can sort of get an idea of the thickness of that one. Okay, and then my scrapbook paper is the pink bits. Sometimes I cut things out of just paper, so the envelope here I'll probably just cut out of normal copy paper weight. So to make this project I use my Cricut, and I have to change the lines in all these pieces from cut lines to score lines, and I've done several videos on how to do that, so I'm not going to do one for this video, for this project, but I will refer you to another one, and I'll put the link in the description box, which shows you how to do that, because it's the same, and once you've done it once you'll know how to do it forever and more. So there you go. This is not a set of printable templates at the moment. If there's enough interest, I will make it into a set of printable templates. And the other thing is, if you're using a Brother Scan and Cut or a Silhouette Cameo, I can't give you information on how you need to change the lines in that. I know that people who use a Brother Scan and Cut change the lines to tiny perforated holes, but they're still cut lines, and then they fold those score lines like that. I also know some people change them into draw lines and draw them in with their scan and cut machine, and then they just manually fold them themselves using a bone folder and a ruler. So they're the options. I'm sorry I can't show you how to do it. I don't have a Brother Scan and Cut. But if you're pretty savvy, I'm sure you can work it out. Anyway, let's get on with it. Today I'm going to make the cover and spine. This is my prototype. I made it in a sort of a junk journal style, but I'm trying to use up some paper and some supplies that I already have. So I'm using this really old Craft Tropicana set, but it's quite cool because it's sort of tropical vintage, which is, I think, it's kind of fun. So I'm going to use that. So this had 12 sheets plus a sticker sheet. So I've also had to throw in a few extras. So it seems like most of them is sort of greens. So I've thrown in some random sheets of green scrapbook paper that I had. And it had some bits and pieces. Oh, I had a random piece of scrapbook paper that had all of these on them. So I chopped all of those up, and they're going to be some of my embellishments, hopefully. I also had a pack of this lurking around, Craft Paradiso. So still tropical, but not the Tropicana. So we'll see if there's anything in there that I can use. What happened was there was somebody who was selling their whole scrapbooking stuff, piles, collection, because they were moving in, I think, interstate. And so I just bought the whole thing, and I got what they had. So like little things like this. I've had this for ages and not used it, so I'm keen on that. This came with a sticker sheet, and I've just trimmed down the sticker sheet, so I've got these stickers that I can use. And it also came with this couple of pages of what are sort of cutouts. So I've just cut all of those out as well, ready to put in some pockets. So that's it in terms of my embellishments. Of course, you can use whatever you want, and you know, for this one I didn't use anything. I just used all random bits and pieces that I had lying around. So, and also some drawing files that I've been working on. I'll share those with you once I've figured them out. But like here I've used some stencils, just used some random pink pieces of paper, and you know, made some clusters out of some scraps and things. So, you know, I think it turned out quite nicely, considering I just used all little scrappy pieces that I had no use for. These are some of my drawing files that I've been working on. And this one here is actually a paper napkin, paper serviette. Is that what everybody calls them? And I've just attached it to this piece of atlas paper, so actually the index page from it. So that was fun. So I did a few different things in here that I hadn't done before and used up some scraps. Anyway, so we're going to start one today, but in this tropical style. So I think it's fun to be able to see how you can do, you know, the same project, but it turns out quite differently every time because of the paper that you use. Anyway, lots of talking, sorry about that. Let's get on with it. So all the pieces that I use, I will put a list in the description box below, so you know exactly what to cut out, so you don't have to write it down and try and remember it. But to start with, for today, I am going to make my cover. So this here is my cover piece. The blue piece underneath, I've cut 2 of those, and I've just cut them out of some of this gaudy cardstock that I would never use on its own. I would only ever cover it up, which is what we're going to do. So I have cut 2 of the blue ones out for that, and then I have also cut out 2 of the spine pieces. That's these 2 here. So my Cricut has cut them out and has put the score lines on them, and then I've just inked on those score lines, and I have used the Gathered Twigs Distress ink. So this one here is my outside piece, and I have stitched around that with my sewing machine. That is an optional. I just like the look of it. I think it makes it look quite snazzy. You can just see here, but you don't have to. It can look snazzy without it as well. Okay, and then for my pages, I have cut out 3 of these base pages here. So that's these 3, and I've already folded on the score lines and inked around the edges, and I've got 3 of those here. Okay, so that's all we need for the cover pretty much for now, so let's put that aside. For the cover, I have just cut out some cards, some of the scrapbook paper. Don't you love those hibiscus flowers? And all I'm going to do is glue this paper on and seal it around the edge like we've done a million times. Lately I've been using a glue stick for this, because sometimes if you use, well, for me anyway, if I use other glue, you can sort of see where it hasn't spread out. It can be a little bit lumpy, so I have been enjoying using just a plain old glue stick lately. So I'm just putting glue all around there, and then I'm going to glue it down on here. Give it a sort of a similar edge all the way around, or not, depends if I can move it. So I'm going to stick that down like that. Lovely, and then I'm going to just turn the edges up now, because my paper's, this cardstock's not really thick. I just like to stick my ruler on the edge like so. Sort of bend that out with my fingers and then stick my bone folder under here to sort of get a nice fold. And I can just fold that over. It's quite thick paper. So Papercraft is actually an Australian company, I believe. And they used to do so much in the art and craft area, but I don't think they do as much anymore. When I look on their website, there's just not so much papercraft bits and pieces. Now they sell a lot of baby things and I don't know, just not papercraft things that I don't want to buy. So I'm just going to go all the way around here. So I really have been enjoying this project because you can make it as over the top or as simple as you like, and I like that. I like being able to create it to suit my mood or my level of botheredness, how lazy I'm feeling. So of course when I do projects to show you, I tend to go over the top because I want to show you all different ideas, but I don't think that anybody ever needs to do it over the top. Anyway, this should hopefully be one of my more simple projects to do. So anyone can do it. You could make one in a day easy. So I'm just going all around here like so. I also need to do the other side, the same with my other page there, with my back cover. So I might just nip off and do that off camera now that you've seen what I've done, because this is my first stage. I'm just covering that. Oh, that's so pretty. So pretty. So I'm just going to do the same with this one, and then I will be right back and we'll carry on. Alright, so I've covered both of my covers. Yeah, I've wrapped both of my covers. I really love this vibrant paper, I must say. So anyway, before I stick the back on, because we don't want to look at that yellow, I'm going to put on one of these little book plates here. So I bought these off AliExpress. Doesn't say what they're called. Comes with a whole bunch of little screws, which obviously, you know, so they're meant for furniture, not for books. But we're not going to be using those screws. So I do have some little brass brads, which I also bought off AliExpress. I think if you just search metal book plates, you'd find something like this if you were looking for it. And the brads, I just searched brads, and they had all sorts of different colours. So I've already gone ahead and figured out where I want to put this, bearing in mind that we have an external spine that is going to poke out 1 inch on the side like this. So I put my book, or measured out where I wanted to put this according to just this section from here to here, not from the whole side, because if I did that, then that'd be the center and then it wouldn't look like the center. So that's why it's like wonky and way over there. So I've already put some little marks in there, and so I'm just going to poke some holes in here. This is my front cover, so this is what I decided to be my front cover. So I'm just using my little poking tool to poke some holes in there. So then I can put this in. Look, go over there. I'm trying. Okay, and then I can put my brad in there, like so, and flip this over. Right, now you can't get away. And then I'm just going to I might need to make that hole about. I might be able to get them in there. We'll give it a push. There we go. Alright. And then there's that one. So I felt like it was pretty straight, but that will not stay over there. I felt like it was pretty straight. Now I'm looking at it and I don't know. Is it straight? Get a ruler. Oh, it's a little bit wonky. Oh, that's annoying. Look at that. I think that's a little bit wonky. Oh well, if you don't say anything, I won't. Well, that's just going to annoy me, isn't it? Never mind. Alright, so then I've cut some of the mats for the covers. So that's here, the cover mats. So those pink pieces, I've cut 2 of those. And they're just going to go on the back. So we can put one on here. And we can put one on here. Doesn't matter which way. That's some nice non-directional paper. So yes, I'm trying to use up some of my paper stash. So I had all these sheets of, well, sort of background papers, and I thought I'm going to start using all of this because it's just sitting around and I feel a bit guilty for all of the stuff I have and all the space I take up. So there's nothing wrong with it. I just have not stretched myself to use it. I keep buying more paper. So I'm just going to put that on there like so. Try and make it even. So this side here is going to be covered by the spine, so we could probably wedge this up close to the edge if we wanted to, because you won't see that. Give that a good press. Make sure I get it around where those brads are. And grab my bone folder and give that a good press. And get rid of the glue that's sticking out the edges. There we go. Right, so that's one cover, and I'm going to do the same with this one. I feel like my glue is a bit slow to come out, but bear with me. I'm just using Crafter's Choice glue. If you're in Australia, it's just the glue called Crafter's Choice glue from Spotlight. But basically, for putting down my mats, I just using a silicone-based glue that gives you a little bit of time to move your mat around if you need to get it where you want it to be. So I'm going to just line that up. And then, so this one, this edge is going to be covered up, so I might just squeeze that a bit close to this edge. Don't need to do that, I just do. I don't know why. Because I just like a really nice thin line along there, I think. Okay, so that's our 2 covers, and now we need to attach them to the spine. But first of all, we have to attach the spines together. So this one here with my stitching is my outside spine, and this will be my inside spine. And what I'm going to do is attach or glue them together in between the score lines. So for this one, I'm going to use my art glitter glue. This is good, strong construction glue that does a good job of keeping things together. So just between those score lines, I'm putting my glue, or doing the best I can to keep in between those score lines, like so. Because I've stitched around there, I like to make sure I've got quite a bit of glue on those stitched edges. And then we just line this one up with this one. if you were sewing, you would say wrong sides together. And then we're just going to glue those two pieces down. And I'm going to have glue coming out. It wouldn't be me without that. Of course, I forgot about, oh here, I've got a good paper towel. Let's just use that. Okay. Let's make sure it's glued nice. So, you know it's glued well when the glue oozes out. That's my theory. Okay. And then I'm just going to press it down here. And I can just open those up. And there's a glue here, that's okay. We're going to put glue here. But we just want to make sure that we can slide our covers in. So I'm just sort of making sure that glue on the inside there is adhered. Okay. So now we can attach our covers to our spine. So I'm going to put it this way because I've got a little bit of double stitching up there where I started and stopped, and so that can be on my back. So on my front cover, I'm just going to put some glue on this piece here for my front cover. This is kind of my signature spine, I'm beginning to think. I just really love this spine. It's a soft spine, but you know, I don't know, it just feels nice in the hand. I think it looks nice. You don't have to do spines like this. This is just the way I like to do them. So then we just pop this one in here and lay it down flat and give it a press. And then we're just going to glue this front section to that. I'm being careful around my edges because of my stitching to make sure that there's glue all the way along there. And all the way down there. You could just as easily have covered this with fabric if you wanted to as well. Or you could potentially, I haven't done this yet, I keep meaning to try, but cutting this spine piece out of some fabric and doing it that way. I haven't tried that. I have to have a little think about how I would do that. Might have to try a few things out. I know some people like fabric covered books. I don't know if I'm a fan or not. The jury's out on that. And I'm just going to flip it over and make sure that this is nice and clean and well glued on here. And it appears to be. So that's my front cover, and then I'm going to do my back cover in exactly the same way, but I'm just going to spin it around because I'm right-handed. I just find it easier this way. So it's now upside down. Put some glue in there. Put my back cover down. It is marginally bigger than the spine, and that's because it's been covered by paper. And of course the size, how much bigger it is than your spine will depend on how well you fold in your edges and how thick your paper is. But I think you'll find there's hardly anything in it and you really wouldn't notice. I never do, and I've been doing this style for quite a long time. You know, I don't think it's so much bigger than your spine that it's really obvious. Just going to clean that up with a little bit of paper towel. Make sure it's well adhered. Both sides. Wipe my gluey mess off. Flip it over, check that back section. Look at that. I just think it's really neat. It's neat, I tell you. there's my cover. Now I'm not going to fold it just yet. I'm just going to give it a little minute to set itself up. But in the meantime, I'm going to find my ruler and a pencil. And I had a pencil somewhere here. Okay, so for this part, I'm now going to insert my pages. Oh, that's so pretty. So I've got my 3 pages here. This is what I mean about it being a really simple design. No pockets, just 3 pages that we're going to put in. I've got a tiny little gusset on them. And all we're going to do is line them up in between each one of these. So what you'll find is this little gusset here is smaller than this one. So we want to try as best we can to fit it in between those each score line. And so then you will have the same size, hopefully, gusset when you have 2 together. That gap in between is what I'm trying to tell you. Let me show you. I don't know if you will even be able to see it here. Right, so here's a page put down, and you can see it's got the white section there. That's this little gusset here, right? Oh, I didn't finish inking that. Someone got sidetracked. This little gusset here is that little gusset there. And then when I flip the page over, there is no white gusset. It's actually the space in between the book, and you can see that score line running down there. So that will be this score line here. You'll be able to see that. Okay, so that's how that works. It might help if you can have a look at, I don't know if you can see that very well. I can't tell from here, but you can see where I've got the 3 separate pages glued in. So that's what we're going to do. So taking my page, and that's this one here, this page here, it's a double-sized page, and those lines down there are the score lines, which I've already folded carefully and inked. And then I'm just going to sort of line up where this page is going to go. I'm just eyeballing it. So you'll find that the cover is just like a minute fraction, a little bit longer than the actual pages, just so your pages don't hang out of your book. And then so I'm looking at how much space I've got here and how much space I've got here. So I'm pretty happy with it like that. And then I'm trying to work out, I mean, I could rule it, but I could rule it. I could measure it, but I couldn't really be bothered with that. That looks pretty good. I've got a nice little gap here. It looks about the same as this little gap here. So I'm just going to put a little line there and a little line there. And I'm just going to rule that line like so, and then I'm just going to go for it. I'll put some glue along here. Now you want a good construction glue for this, because your page, this is how your page is being held in. If you're worried about it, you could stitch it. You have stitches on the outside, because we've already put the 2 spine pieces together. But if you were worried about it, you could actually put your pages onto this spine piece, stitch down the middle of the gusset, and then attach the spine piece on the other side. But look, this one, I'll show you now. I'll just stick this in while the glue's still wet, or my yapping. Okay, so I'm trying to line it up with that line that I just made. Pretty even top and bottom. I could probably come over a smidge. It's like there's a little bit more there, but honestly I don't think it really matters. Then when I'm happy with that, I'm just going to lay it down, make sure that I'm happy with it, and then I want to commit like so. So the only way that I've got this attached is by that little strip of glue. But that's exactly how this whole book is made. And I've got plenty of things in pockets and things. and it's hanging in there quite nicely. So, you know, don't be too worried about that. Okay, so I'm just making sure that that's really well adhered. I'm happy with that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the same for my other 2 pages. So this time I'm going to line my page up between those 2 score lines, and I'm going to use this page as a reference guide as to where it needs to sit at the bottom and at the top. So I think you probably get the idea. I'll go ahead and do this off camera, and then I will be back to show you how I went. Alright, so I'm just, once again, I'm just eyeballing it because I'm being lazy. Oops, and then I'm just going to knock it. Alright, I'll be back in a minute once it's all done, and I'll show you how I went. Okay, see you soon. Alright, so I have attached all 3 of my pages now, which are just sort of double pages. This is the middle one. So I've tried to make it fairly even on each side. It's not perfect. I don't think it will ever be perfect. And that's okay because it's handmade. So then I just really want to make sure that they're attached. And so there's all my little pages there. Really easy to insert, and then we just fold it up, and there's my little booklet all ready to go. So just squeeze my front and back spine pieces there, and then I can have a nice flat spine. But of course, as it gets fuller, it sort of sits like that, quite full. But also it's also soft. I don't know. I just really like the spine. Did I mention I like the spine? Anyway, so that is my cover all made and the pages inserted. So I think we'll leave this video here for now, and when we come back in the next video we will do some bits and pieces to the inside, which is really easy. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing what it looks like. Alright, so I hope that you join me in the next video to put some bits and pieces inside our Slimline Folio. Otherwise, thanks for your time today, guys. It's been good to be back. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Bye.